Think of a student you know who struggles to read. They may need more time and effort with the basics of reading, like sounding out words or understanding what they read. They may also have trouble staying focused and remembering what they heard, and as a result, when students struggle in school, they tend to have lower social emotional learning competencies, like self-awareness and self-management. We know that each of these skill areas are linked together. They depend on each other for growth. So in the Fast Forward program, we simultaneously develop reading skills like phonological awareness and phonics, grammar and vocabulary, and fluency and comprehension, while at the same time developing key cognitive skills for all learning, such as working memory and focused attention. And while working through this rigorous program, students can develop stronger social-emotional learning competencies like self-confidence and a healthy self-concept. Let's look at some examples of how our program links together cognitive skills with reading and language skills. Here's an exercise from our kinder level, which works on building basic decoding and phonics skills. At the same time, it builds working memory and attention capacities. Here, the dog will ask them to pick a card that has a different beginning, middle, or end sound than the other 3 cards. In just a few seconds, the student will work to identify the sounds and select the correct card, getting immediate feedback. Students will complete as many as 40 of these trials in a single session, and each of those trials targets the student's focus on the task, their working memory, and their language and reading skills simultaneously. As your students move forward in the program, they'll reach completion milestones and eventually master a full component. For students with low social emotional learning competencies, experiencing success like this can be highly motivating and rewarding, which paves the way for developing self-awareness and self-management. Here are some exercises from our elementary and secondary components for those students who are behind in their reading grade level. Let's start with an elementary exercise. Here students learn language skills important for reading, like grammar and vocabulary. Each trial will also target the student's working memory, focused attention, processing, and sequencing skills. In this exercise, you'll hear a sentence and then choose the picture that matches it, but it's not as easy as it may look.
The girl who is happy is pulling the boy.
Each trial cross-trains multiple reading, language, and cognitive skills at once, while giving immediate feedback and timely motivation. Here's the same exercise, but it's been visually designed for secondary students. Compared to the previous exercise, you could probably see why these will be more engaging for a secondary student, but still help them work on these important reading skills in a socially safe environment. The exercise can respond to errors the student makes by providing inline interventions, so it's adaptive and still engaging. Plus, students can track their own progress, giving them ownership of their work. Here's one last example of cross-training memory and attention skills with reading skills. This exercise works on advanced decoding skills like high-frequency word recognition. After a target word is presented, new words start to fly by, and the challenge is to hold that auditory and visual memory while waiting for it to be presented again. This helps students build automatic word recognition skills, a necessary step for reading comprehension. Reading comprehension and fluency is also a key part of this program. Each student is assigned a library of selections and genres at their level, even students who are older but need simpler text. The Reading Assistant Plus component gives students opportunities to practice and develop fluency and comprehension skills through the act of reading itself. This is a socially safe environment that uses speech recognition technology to listen to students read and give immediate corrective feedback on their fluency or pronunciation skills. At the end of every selection, the student takes a brief comprehension quiz, and they can see their fluency and comprehension results in real time. Hopefully these examples were able to show you how this program is adaptive and engaging for students at any level. It can cross-train reading and language skills with cognitive skills, while also providing a socially safe environment to practice reading aloud with support, and it can be implemented from the home or in-person classroom. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Bye for now.
Let's take a tour of Fast Forward Language version 2. This product helps elementary students focus on listening accuracy, phonological awareness, and listening comprehension. Like all fast-forward software, Language Version 2 builds fit brains. The 7 exercises your students will be working on do not require reading, but they do take brain power. Students build their memory, attention, processing, and sequencing skills, while simultaneously improving the language skills they need to be better learners. Students will complete tasks presented in sounds, words, and sentences. Welcome to Sky Gym. In Sky Gym, students click on the yellow planet to hear 2 sound sweeps. This might be 2 up sweeps, 2 downward sweeps, or 1 of each. Then, using the up arrow or down arrow, they are asked to repeat what they heard. Over time, students improve their auditory processing, or ability to recognize and remember the order in which a series of sounds is presented. In the classroom, improved auditory processing helps students with phonics, with listening comprehension, and a variety of other skills. Consecutive correct responses are tracked by these vents. Notice what happens when we get 3 in a row correct. This ball gets larger. If I get another 3 in a row correct, it grows more. This is what you want your students to focus on, consistent accuracy. You'll see markers for completion as a student advances through the content. Using the Help feature, students can listen to the 4 different combinations of sound sweeps to better distinguish between them. Use this when you are working with students who are having difficulty with a particular sequence. With Sky Gym, the key to success is encouraging students to be accurate and take their time before responding. To work on Moon Ranch, the student clicks the yellow planet on Granny's tractor to hear a syllable repeated in rapid succession. When the exercise presents a new syllable, which will sound very similar to the first one, the student must click the farm animal to be moved into the pasture. This exercise builds phonemic awareness by requiring students to attend to changes in speech sounds. It also targets sustained and focused attention, a skill that benefits all children in the classroom. Moon Ranch is unique among all exercises in that quick responses are important. As I mentioned, students must pay close attention. If the animal is clicked too early or too late, the response is counted as incorrect. When the student answers correctly, the exercise raises the animal a little higher toward the fence. Consecutive correct responses are shown here with these 3 steps. When the student answers 3 in a row correctly, the animal moves on to the next step. When the student answers 3 in a row correctly 3 times, the animal is transported over the fence and the exercise awards bonus points. More and more farm animals will be seen in the hills behind the pasture as the student completes more and more correct responses. The percent complete markers on Granny's tractor indicate the percentage of completed content in the exercise. Remind students that Moon Ranch requires focused attention and quick responses when they hear the change in sounds. To work on Robodog, the student clicks the yellow planet to hear a word pronounced. 4 pictures appear on the screen. The student must click the picture that represents the pronounced word. Robodog presents words that differ by an initial sound, or a final sound, or both. Besides developing language comprehension and phonemic awareness, at the highest level, Robodog also presents academic vocabulary, such as math and science terminology. These 3 buttons will indicate the number of consecutive correct responses. When the student answers 3 in a row correctly, a biscuit appears in the box on the left, and the counter resets. Watch what happens when a student answers 3 in a row correctly 3 times. Students will see more animations rewarding continued accuracy, with more biscuit boxes, golden bones, and bonus points being awarded. The percent complete markers on the left indicate the percentage of completed content in the exercise. Each marker represents 10% of the exercise. When all of the markers light up, the exercise is complete. If the student needs assistance with a vocabulary, the student can click the Help button next to Goldie the Robodog. A question mark inside the planet indicates that help is on. When help is on, the exercise pronounces the word for each picture and briefly displays the picture on the screen before each word is presented. This allows the student to review the vocabulary before being asked to respond. Help remains on until the student turns it off by clicking the Help button again, or until the student completes the content group they are working on. Help is one of the best tools to use in Robodog. To work on Elebot, the student clicks the yellow planet on Ella the Elebot to hear a word or sentence pronounced. Students must click the picture that best matches the meaning. Elebot helps improve the students' listening accuracy and their understanding of grammar as the exercise presents questions and sentences that involve a range of grammatical difficulty.
Who is the girl pulling? Choose the picture of the bunny.
These light bulbs will signal correct responses, and when students answer 3 in a row correctly, a peanut will appear in the bag on the left and the counter will reset. After 3 of these cycles are complete, Ella gets to eat the peanuts, and the empty bag moves to the right side of the screen. The percent complete markers on the left indicate the percentage of completed content in the exercise. To work on Space Commander, the student clicks the yellow planet to hear directions, and then follows those directions using the grid and shapes displayed. Students click the mouse to touch a shape and drag and release the shape to move it. Space Commander helps improve the students' memory as the directions get longer and more complex. It also develops their listening accuracy and grammar skills.
Touch the little green circle and the big yellow square.
This is where students should focus on accuracy. They will see a count of correct responses on the bird's fingers. When the student answers 3 in a row correctly, the signal officer directs the pilot bird to fly into the globe and the counter resets. As the student continues answering trials correctly in a session, more and more birds fill the globe, which help indicate a more successful session. The percent complete markers on the left indicate the percentage of completed content in the exercise. Each one represents 10% of the exercise. When all 10 markers light up, the exercise is complete. To work on HoopNet, the student clicks the yellow planet on the tree launcher to hear a target syllable. The student must listen carefully as each of the 2 astronauts in the acorns presents a different syllable. One presents the target syllable, while the other presents a syllable that differs from the target syllable by a single phoneme. The student must click the acorn that presents the target syllable. In HoopNet, students develop phonemic awareness, a foundational reading skill. Consistent accuracy is reinforced with this indicator, which tightens up a little more for each consecutive correct response. When the student answers 3 in a row correctly, the tree launcher shoots an acorn through the hoop on a nearby tree ship, and the counter is reset. The percent complete markers on the tree launcher indicate the percentage of completed content in the exercise. Each marker represents 10% of the exercise. When the student reaches the H, that means they are 50% complete and results in more fun and frequent reward animations. Knowing what the sounds are is not as important as being able to tell the difference between them. Walian Match displays grids of 4, 8, or 16 Walians. Each Walian has a syllable or word associated with it. The object of Walian Match is to match them into pairs. The student will click a Walian, listen to the target sound, then click the other Walians on the screen to find the Walian with the matching syllable or word. If the student clicks a new Walian that matches one already clicked, the student must then go back and click the first Walian of the pair to confirm the match. As students identify and match spoken words, they strengthen their memory and ability to make distinctions based on individual phonemes. This ultimately improves their phonemic awareness and sound letter correspondence. Students have a click counter to encourage them to choose their clicks wisely. Each time the student clicks a Walian, one of the tokens disappears. When the student matches all of the Walians on the screen with tokens, remaining bonus points are awarded. The student can keep working if they run out of tokens. The percent complete markers on the left indicate the percentage of completed content in the exercise. Rather than guessing randomly, the fastest way for students to progress through the content is to use a left-to-right strategy to clear the grid. To try the exercises yourself and to demonstrate them to your students, you can access the exercise demos here in the Manage section of My SciLearn. It's easy to sample the early levels or the late levels of any exercise so you have an understanding of how the exercise will progress over time. There's also an introduction which you can use for yourself or for students which will briefly explain what to do. Try out the exercise demos for the products your students will be working on and review the Fast Forward Language Version 2 Demonstration Day Tips PDF for suggestions on how to introduce the exercises to your students.
At Rosen Lightsail, we are dedicated to 2 things: solving the thorniest problems in grades 3 through 12 literacy and turning your students into readers. We know what works when it comes to fostering students' literacy growth. We've seen it in the research, and we see it play out in the classroom-based evidence every day. Students who read for 25 minutes or more in their just right zone are learning and growing. Their test scores and reading behaviors are the proof. Our adaptive learning technologies are giving students and educators the tools they need to exceed their literacy goals. It all begins with access to more than 6,000 assessed texts from many different publishers across all topics and genres. Rose and Lightsail can ensure that all students, regardless of interest or level, will have something great to read. When students first start using Rose and Lightsail, they take a quick, grade-level yet adaptive diagnostic called the Power Challenge. The Power Challenge yields a Lexile measure for each student, and then Rose and Lightsail uses that Lexile to adapt each student's library to present a personalized selection. In addition to the custom view of just right books, students can also browse the entire library by topic or genre. As they browse, they'll see books marked with small green lightning bolts, indicating that those books are power texts. These books are specifically within that reader's current zone of proximal development and will foster more rapid reading growth. Power texts are just one way that Rose and Lightsail adapts and personalizes the reading experience to make students more powerful readers. Rose and Lightsail libraries are designed actively to promote the reading practices that will best foster growth. As a student reads and takes Rose and Lightsail's in-text assessments, his or her library continues to adapt based on their newly calibrated Lexile measure, and new power texts are featured, helping to ensure they are always reading just right books. Rose and Lightsail embeds assessments right into the student reading experience to ensure that students are engaged and growing. Short, relevant questions appear with frequency as a student progresses through a text, making assessment feel authentic and low stakes. Rose and Lightsail partnered with Metametrics, the creator of the Lexile framework, to embed vocabulary assessments called close items, featured every 2 to 4 pages throughout each book. These assessments allow Rose and Lightsail to accurately pinpoint a student's reading level, predict future performance, and dynamically adjust their reading experience through continuously updating their library. Students will also encounter multiple choice and short response questions at the end of chapters. These questions look more closely at a student's comprehension of a particular book and how a student is performing on a specific skill, strategy, or standard. The rigorous short response questions are written at an appropriately complex level and require text evidence as well as critical thinking. Teachers can see how students are performing on the embedded multiple choice or short response questions, and they can drill down to specific standards in order to inform targeted instruction. Every book comes complete with in-text assessments so that schools can begin using Rose and Lightsail without any effort whatsoever. Yet Rose and Lightsail is also customizable. Like many of Rose and Lightsail's features, teachers can turn assessments on or off for individual students or an entire class, further customizing the experience. Teachers can also add their own assessment questions through Rose and Lightsail's Drop-a-Pin feature. Our Content Builder tool allows teachers to customize students' learning experience to meet their curriculum needs by importing content from anywhere and adding assessments and thoughts. Educators can import texts, such as articles, via web links, EPUBs, or Google Docs to the Rose and Lightsail platform to further expand their own or their students' libraries. Everything imported into Content Builder is automatically and instantaneously Lexiled and close-tested. Rose and Lightsail's assessments and behavior data present a holistic and comprehensive view of a student and greatly simplify the work of educators by helping them target instruction and motivating students on an individual basis. Rose and Lightsail believes in the motivating power of giving students transparency around their own data. Students can follow their Lexile growth, project their future reading levels based on recent performance, and chart their progress towards goals. Rose and Lightsail students who track their development in this way often take on the challenge of beating these projected Lexile scores, encouraging even the most reluctant readers to push themselves to succeed and to celebrate their accomplishments. Students can also see how many books they've read during that year and earn motivational badges as they try out new genres, score well on assessments, and increase their reading stamina. Adaptive personalized word walls help students keep track of words they've looked up and close assessments they've missed while continuing to support vocabulary acquisition, all behaviors that lead to better, stronger readers. Persuasive learning technologies like these encourage students to perform better on the assessments they encounter throughout the texts. The results? Better comprehension and increased ownership of learning, and greater motivation to read more. By helping students make meaning of their own data, Rose and Lightsail bolsters their development as readers. Rose and Lightsail enhances instruction with new insights for teachers. Whether it's for a whole class, a small group, or individual students, Rose and Lightsail's Think Feed brings classroom discussions to new levels, giving every student a voice, even those who don't normally participate. As students record their thoughts directly into texts, teachers can see and respond to these annotations in real time, initiating a kind of instant dialogue that students love. With access to student reading behavior, annotations, and achievement data at their fingertips and in real time, teachers can group students meaningfully to provide targeted instruction. Rose and Lightsail is designed to handle the logistical burden of differentiation for ELA, so teachers can focus on what matters most, meeting the needs of every reader in your classroom.